Thank you for joining us today on Season 2, Episode 2 of Tradition of Excellence with Amy Perez. Most of the students in this building know Mrs. Perez because she has worked in our school corporation for years. I am inspired by her way of being connected to the community and staying active while helping her students learn as well. I hope you enjoy.
Welcome to this episode of the Tradition of Excellence with class of 2001 graduate Amy Perez. Thank you for joining us today, Ms. Perez.
Thank you for having me.
How are we doing?
Doing really well today.
That's good. So, starting things off, what did you do in high school?
In high school, I was pretty involved. I played 3 sports: volleyball, basketball, and track. I also did AAU sports in the off-season with some athletes from the county. And then I was also involved in National Honor Society, the Yearbook Club, Z Club, and I was a cadet teacher.
So you got like a little bit of everything there: athlete, involved in academic stuff, all throughout. Like I'm involved too. I'm not got too much on me, but like I do yearbook as well. I do sports. I do 2 sports: football and track. I'm actually class president of the senior class too. So I'm in that mix with you a little bit as well, doing a little bit of everything, jumping around.
Yeah.
So another question is, if you were to look back to your 15-year-old, 16-year-old self in high school, would you change anything? Would you give any advice on what you do, what you would do differently?
Really good question. So much has changed since I was in high school, but I think probably some of the most important things I would tell myself is just to quit trying to be so darn perfect and just to embrace my unique qualities that kind of set me apart from other people. Laugh more. I took life way too seriously in high school, and now that I'm kind of grown and have gone through different experiences, I've just realized like just laughing is the best way to kind of get through it. And I think the last thing I would say is that sometimes you get in rough seasons of life and you feel like this is never going to end, or is there a solution to it? And I think I would just tell myself that all rough seasons pass and that brighter days are always ahead, and that the solution's there. Sometimes you just have to be patient and kind of wait through the storm.
Absolutely. High school's full of those like ups and downs. Like if I were to go back and tell 15-year-old, 16-year-old freshman self, I'm like, you got one shot at high school, you can't mess it up. Like I found my divots, I've been through them, and I've came back academically. So I'm glad to be where I am now. If it wasn't for teachers pushing me to be the absolute best I am and the human I am now, it's all about the experience, you know.
Absolutely. I think there's so much to be said for like a growth mindset, and I think when I was younger, I just wanted to be so perfect. I wanted to get everything right the first time around, and I think sometimes through our failures is where we learn and grow the most. And so I think just that growth mindset that it sounds like you've kind of learned, and it took me a lot longer to learn it than you. So, but I think definitely that growth mindset, kind of growing through our failures and hard times.
Absolutely. You can't always see growth doesn't happen like right away. Like you can't attend gym, you can't go to the gym and expect progress to happen in one day, because I know you're involved in like fitness and stuff like that as well. You can't go there and expect, oh, I'm going to go here and lose 10 pounds today. It's not going to happen. Growth happens through time.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And back to, I just mentioned fitness, and I know you're involved in that now. What do you do now within like the community and schools? And
Yeah, thank you for asking. So after I graduated from Frankfort High School, I went to the University of Indianapolis and I got my degree in elementary education. Came right back to Frankfort. That was my goal, to come back and teach. And so I was hired that very first school year back in August of 2005. This is my 19th year of teaching with the community schools of Frankfort, and I've just held a variety of roles. I started teaching when we had neighborhood schools at Kiger Elementary. I don't even know if you remember those neighborhood schools. I taught there for a couple of years, and then Green Meadows. Throughout that time, I've also been an instructional coach, and then most recently moved to Blue Ridge, and I've taught kindergarten, been an interventionist, and also the year that COVID hit, a virtual kindergarten teacher for our district. So definitely been very involved in the schools. And then, as you said, in the fitness community. For a few years, I had a small business, had a studio where I led group fitness classes. One of them is called Pound, and I've done some other things like Tabata and yoga. Most recently, I've been at Core, and if anyone knows me, they also know I'm super active in the CrossFit community that just started. So teaching and fitness are like my passions, what make me me.
That's nice to have that passion, and it also brings you back to Frankfurt. I love to hear that you're involved in the community, and the young community especially, because we need somebody to teach these kids. And the COVID, don't even get me started
Right.
with COVID. That took a chunk out of, I think, everybody. That
Yeah.
COVID was hard, and with you being there, the virtual kindergarten assistant or whatever you may have been, I don't know.
Yeah.
But coming back and helping those kids, I want to thank you for that, because having young ones in the school system. I have a little brother who's in 6th grade now, but whenever COVID happened, was it 4 years ago,
Yeah.
3 years ago, he was 3rd grader, which was
Yeah.
still young for the time.
Yeah.
And I missed my 8th grade year due to COVID, so
Yeah.
we all go through these times.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for having me today.
Well, thank you for joining us. That is going to conclude this episode with Ms. Perez on the Tradition of Excellence.